August 1st. Summer is on the mend of closing, and we will be embracing the fall or autumn season here soon, which I'm looking forward to, the cooler weather. So starting with just our general housekeeping stuff before we jump into the formal topic to address today. I want to welcome everyone to the Parkinson's Foundation's Mindfulness Monday. My name is Crista Ellis. I'm your host for today's session. Everyone will be muted for the duration of today's session. Feel free to share your thoughts, your feelings, your name, your location in our chat. You'll see that we have a chatty bunch in this mindful Parkinson's community, so feel free. Right now might be a good time to get oriented on where that chat button is, because I am going to ask you guys to use it. I'm going to ask you a question, so just get familiar before we get too comfortable in our space. You'll see that a lot of us are joining on video. Love to see everyone's faces. You can see your mindful Parkinson's community in the United States and Canada, across the seas, across borders. This is us. This is our global Parkinson's community. So thank you all so much for joining us. Our next live English session will be with the beloved Jacqueline Fitch next Monday. So we will meet live next Monday together in the same space, same time, same Zoom link. So if you get lost in the email track, just find us and somewhere in that email path. I'll show you on the screen the upcoming topics for PD Health at Home Mindfulness Monday. Next week is transforming worry into self-love. Wellness Wednesday this week on August 3rd is genetic testing for Parkinson's disease through PD generation. And our next Fitness Friday, every Friday we release a new video, but our next live one will be on August 19th. So mark your calendar. We'll be doing physical optimization, functional fitness for PD. Again, a very, very, very grateful thank you to our sponsor, Light of Day Foundation. Their generosity makes our programming possible through the PD Health at Home platform. So thank you, Light of Day. If you're new to us, if you're new to the Parkinson's Foundation, if you're new to Parkinson's disease entirely, the Parkinson's Foundation is here for you. Please refer to our parkinson.org website. We have a very comprehensive and extensive library of resources written by people with Parkinson's, written by experts in the Parkinson's field. Feel free to reach out to our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO or email us at helpline@parkinson.org. All right, so before we get started, let's just take a collective breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Let it be noisy. Well, let's do 2 more. Deep breath in. And let it go. Good, we'll do a 3rd breath in, either through the nose or through the mouth. Let it go. But I'm going to start us with a poem this morning, this afternoon. Feel free to close your eyes if you'd like. It's called Flowing Water by Lori Proctor. Flowing down the riverway, I touch first one bank, then the other, for nothing stays my course. I carve my way through hillside, valley, slowly, gently moving. Whatever shape I make in this, I stay contained, but ever moving. Moving on, restless sometimes, tumbling, cascading, in little waterfalls along the way. Sometimes still and deep, I settle in some cozy hollow and rest peacefully. Let other creatures live in this soft stillness. Everywhere I appear different. Everywhere I change my shape and sound, form, but never change the watery substance of my being. All the rest is movement, flow, and force. My nature and my substance stay the same, and so my goal. Nothing stops my flow towards the sea, towards the great encompassing mother of my being. This weekend, I had the privilege of attending a yoga festival in my hometown. Lots of yoga every day, multiple sessions, new teachers, people coming from all around the country, and connecting in unison and movement, singing, dancing. And there was a question that was asked regularly. And one of the classes I attended, one of the teachers had a different kind of perspective on the question that people were asking everyone all around in each space, each room that we went to. And so I'm going to ask you the same question. And I'm going to ask you to answer in the chat if you feel comfortable with it. A lot of people have already started to answer it without even getting proposed the question. But I'm going to ask you to answer it in a different way. It can be quite literally, it can be poetically, historically. So the question is, where are you coming from? Are you coming from breakfast? Coming from dinner? Are you coming from the bed? Poetically thinking, I'm coming from the womb, coming from my mother. I'm coming from the mountains. I'm coming from the sea. I'm coming from water. I'm coming from Parkinson's. Where are you coming from? Literally, poetically, historically. I'm coming from my iPad. I love that. I'm coming from the God. I'm coming from home. I'm coming from pain. I see you. I'm coming from a place of peace and contentment. I'm coming from sitting and watching my great grandchild. Yeah, here it goes. I'm coming from the chore list. I'm coming from love. I'm coming from fatigue. I'm coming from Ireland. I'm coming from nature. I'm coming from the shower. I'm coming from deep in my soul. I'm coming from work. I'm coming from effort. I'm coming from lunch. I'm coming from the garden. I'm coming from Washington. I'm coming from work. You can see the various levels of where we're coming from, right? Some people are writing physical locations. Some people are writing feelings and emotions. Some people are writing quite literally from an iPad. I'm coming from my computer chair. I'm coming from Texas. I'm coming from sorrow. I see you. Wherever you're coming from, you belong here. I have another question for you. One of the questions that was asked, again, quite regularly in this time of unity across the nation. How are you? I'm good. I'm fine. I'm okay. Not bad. Not this everyday mundane language, but truly, how are you? How are you? How are you? Some people might be showing up today joyful and vibrant, rested. There are those of us who are showing up in a great feeling of grief, perhaps some frustration, pain. Ready for another day, not smiling, but there's no pain. I'm feeling love. How are you? Exhausted. Exhausted. I'm holding. I'm content. How are you? Exhausted from a fun weekend. Okay, so it's a positive side of exhaustion. I don't see that too often. Grief, frustration with my shaking. Yeah, thankful, satisfied. A whole spectrum of answers for how are you? I've been doing a lot of reading the past few days. It's been a while since I've got to host one of these sessions with you all. So I spent some time on today's really thinking about what's happening in my life and how I can apply these learnings, these teachings to us affected and living with Parkinson's disease. And my guide for today's session is Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is a global spiritual leader, poet, and peace activist. He's revered around the world for his pioneering teachings on mindfulness, global ethics, and peace. And this book called Being Peace is where I got the idea to address feelings and perceptions for us today. Thich Nhat Hanh in his book of Being Peace outlines the 5 aggregates of human beings. The first, of course, is our form, our body. That includes our sense organs, our nervous system, directly indicated through Parkinson's disease. Our feelings, okay, here's number 2. Perceptions, our mental formations, so the mind, outside of those feelings and those perceptions, but everything else that's going on in the mind. And then our consciousness. So you see that every day we experience a full spectrum of feelings. It's kind of like a stream kind of rolling through our experience of life day to day. For example, this morning I woke up and was like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so sore. I'm so mad at that alarm clock. I can't believe it woke me up this early. And being the mindful practitioner that I am, I'm like, oh, yes, I've trained my brain. Think three things I'm grateful for today. 3 things I'm grateful for today. Okay, so that frustration melted away. And I woke up, I was like, oh, it's cold. I don't want to take this blanket off, right? Going through the feelings of just waking up and rising. Maybe a little anxiety of the things that have to be done today, how I'm feeling in my body, right? All these waves and feelings of emotions, a full spectrum. And psychology says that feelings can be categorized in 3 ways: pleasant, okay, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Examples: how do you feel when I say to you, you are so brave showing up here with Parkinson's, or with someone living with Parkinson's? You are so brave. Or, you're so beautiful. When was the last time somebody said that to you? And how does that make you feel? A little fluttery, hopefully. Or, you were so kind and thoughtful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A pleasant feeling, right? Hopefully. And those neutral feelings. So neutral is a little bit harder to grasp because you don't feel either pleasant or unpleasant. So when you're neutral, you think about this spectrum of emotions, right? Good and bad, pleasant and unpleasant. And right in the middle, kind of like when you're sitting watching TV, not watching anything too particularly stimulating. You're just kind of there, right? You're not really having anything pull at your heart. It's neutral. But Thich Nhat Hanh says that he doesn't agree with that evaluation of feelings, because neutral feelings can be quite pleasant. When you're in a neutral place of your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, it can be pretty pleasant to feel neutral. There's one example, and I think this can really be relatable in Parkinson's disease, is working. So some people find work really pleasant, working in your garden, working at your career, whatever profession that you're in. Some of us can find working really unpleasant. Maybe that trimmer is really getting in the way of me doing my fine motor tasks that I need to do. Or working in a labor-intensive job at a factory in the field could be unpleasant for some of us. Another example of pleasant or unpleasant is the example of seeing. I'm going to read a passage from the book of Being Peace from Thich Nhat Hanh. He says, we call seeing a neutral feeling. Yet someone who has lost her sight would give anything to be able to see. And if suddenly she could, she would consider it a miraculous gift. We who have eyes capable of seeing many forms and colors are often unhappy. If we want to practice seeing, we can go out and look at leaves, flowers, children, clouds, and be happy. Whether or not we are happy depends on our awareness. Another example, he writes, when you have a toothache, you think that not having a toothache will make you happy. Oh, this hurts so bad. Oh my gosh, if it would just go away. Oh, I'd be so grateful. I would feel so much better. I'd be so happy if I didn't have this toothache. But when you don't have that toothache, often you're still unhappy. Perceiving includes our ideas or concepts about our own reality. And I want to share an ancient fable about a farmer in a small village. Has anyone heard this one yet? If you had, let it be a little reminder. So one day, the farmer's only horse ran away. His neighbors came over to console him, saying, "We are so very sorry. This is horrible news. You must feel angry and sad." And the farmer said, "We'll see. Who can know what's good and what's bad?" The next week, the farmer's horse returned, this time with a dozen wild horses following behind. The farmer and his son wrangled the horses up. His neighbors commented, "Wow, what good fortune, how joyful you must feel." Again, the farmer said, "We shall see. Who can know what's good and what's bad?" The following day, one of the new wild horses trampled the father's son, breaking his son's legs. The neighbors then said, "I'm so sorry for you. You must be upset with this terrible happening." To which the farmer replied, "We shall see. Who can know what's good and what's bad?" Shortly thereafter, the country went to war, and every healthy young man was drafted to fight, but due to his son's injuries, the farmer's son was not drafted. It was a horrible war. Almost every soldier died. And the farmer's neighbors again congratulated him, saying, "You must be so happy and relieved that your son did not go to war." The farmer replied, "We shall see. Who can know what's good and what's bad?" There is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. William Shakespeare. The French language has the word comprendre, which means to understand, to know, to comprehend. Com means to be one, to be together. And prendre means to take or to grasp. To understand something means that to take that thing up and to be with it. To understand something means to take whatever we're trying to understand, to take it up and to be with it. To sit is not enough. We have to be at the same time. To be what, Crista? What are you talking about? And Thich Nhat Hanh says, to be, you have to be something. You cannot be a nothing, right? To be aware is to be aware of something. While sitting, you sit and you are sitting. You are the sitting. You are the breathing. You are the shaking. You are the feeling that you're feeling. You are the Parkinson's. Perceptions are perceptions of our body, feelings, mind, nature, society. And perception is important to our well-being, for our peace. Perception, however you choose to have these perceptions, can free, as long as your perceptions, if they're free from our emotions, free from illusions and judgments, we can feel more at peace. Whether that's with your Parkinson's or with your loved one living with Parkinson's. So let's try and practice that today. We're going to practice shifting our perceptions. So just find whatever comfortable seated posture might feel good for you. Be lying down. If you're comfortable with it, you can close your eyes. I'm going to start some music for us just to kind of anchor to a little bit in those moments of silence. And just start to feel the muscles in your face relax. The muscles around your eyes, muscles around your lips, letting the jaw unhinge just a little bit. Maybe the tongue falls away from the roof of your mouth, relaxing the muscles of your face. Maybe relaxing the muscles right here at your forehead. If it would be comfortable, full invitation to bring the hands to your body in some way, to the heart, to the thighs, to the knees, to the belly. And start to feel the shoulders start to let go away from the ears. Finding a little more space around the throat and neck. And whatever this moment of stillness looks for you, for your body, just know that it belongs here. The tremor, the discomfort, the joy, whatever you show up here with today, wherever you came from, belongs right here. And when these moments start to connect to the flow of your breath, there's no wrong or right way to breathe, just the way that you find comfort in breathing. Knowing that you are breathing your body. Noticing what might feel good in your body or what might feel the least bad. The least bad. Notice the types of thoughts that might come to mind with that feeling of good or what feels the least bad. And see if that thought is coming from a place of judgment. Is it something that your mind created? And just notice your relationship to that thought. Are you holding on to it? With your next breath in, pull all the way to fill the lungs. And your breath out to soften and relax a bit deeper into this place of feeling good or least bad. A few moments for you just to have some time for yourself in your body, with your thoughts, with your feelings, and your perceptions. This too belongs. Your tremor belongs, your pain belongs, your breath belongs. However easy or hard, this belongs. Breathing in and breathing out. And gently start to bring a little sparkle to the body, a little tenderness to the breath. Taking a nice sip into the lungs and letting it out with some sound. A little sparkle to the toes. Maybe a smile to your lips, however easy or hard that might be for you. Give yourself the gift of a smile. Take a deep breath in and a breath out. It's easy to go through life making the same choices over and over and falling into these old habits, these old grooves and patterns. We do what is familiar, but the result is we can find ourselves stuck. To get unstuck, the best thing to do is take a step back and approach things from a new angle, a different perspective, even from the opposite outlook. If you feel yourself being stuck, and quite literally, some of us with Parkinson's get stuck. If you feel yourself being stuck and falling into these habitual patterns of thought or judgment that's not proactive, you can try viewing your challenges through a different lens. Look at your obstacles from someone else's point of view, someone you admire, a good friend, maybe even a child. Ask a friend for their perspective. Do some journal writing. Read a book. Shake up your habits. Rattle your patterns. Inspire a new way of thinking. As Albert Einstein is believed to have said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So it's right at 1:30, my time anyway, and I wanted to end with a poem I just discovered over the weekend, if you can indulge me. The poem is called Healing. Never apologize for the way you choose to heal. Some need the sun to soak up its radiant rays of penetrating light, allowing it to shine its way into those parts we forget, or even the parts we consider dark. Some need the moon to retreat into the reverent darkness that comes before each opportunity to begin again, to once again reflect the light of the sun. Some need the trees to be reminded of the roots that ground and sustain, that do not come from an external source. They grow from within. Like the trees, we are reminded to bend, to perhaps even dance, that there is no need to break. Some need the gentle flow of the wind and of the water to be cleansed and to be cleared of that which no longer serves, that which we insist on carrying, that was never ours in the first place. Baptized by that which is the most sacred, freedom. Some need the earth to be reminded of the place from which we came and where we will eventually return. Receiving messages from her through us that we are one and we do not tread this path of Parkinson's alone. Some do not yet know what they need, and that, my darling, is okay. Allow yourself to be held by the sun, by the moon, by the trees, by the water, and by the wind, by the earth. You are love, you are whole, and you are all. The book called Landing Home by Tara Becky Eschenroder. I think Jennifer is going to write it in the chat for us. And so before we end, let's just take a deep breath in. Grounding and centering, allowing just a moment to digest what we experienced before we float off into our routine. I encourage you to shake it up a little. Instead of going to that one diner for brunch tomorrow, try somewhere new. Or try a different Silver Sneakers class. Who knows, you might really like it. All right, you guys. I will see you next Monday with Jacqueline Fitch, transforming worry into self-love. I'll see you all next week. Namaste.